President Trump is moving forward on enforcing immigration laws. Arizona prison system, crime study on illegal immigrants. Then there were immigration sweeps in Florida, Texas, California, Los Angeles, the entire region, as well as San Francisco. Hi everyone, this is Jack Easum, TrumpRepublican.News. Well, President Trump is enforcing the immigration laws with his administration, and ICE is doing sweeps around the country. Yesterday, President Trump tweeted this: "Negotiations on DACA have begun. Republicans want to make a deal, and Democrats say they want to make a deal. Wouldn't it be great if we could finally, after so many years, solve the DACA puzzle? This will be our last chance. There will never be another opportunity." March 5th is coming. In this, the president's referring to the budget passing one more time for a temporary budget and or a long-term budget. But he's referring to DACA. These are the so-called immigrants that are dreamers that came to the country. Well, there's a lot happening right now on illegal immigration. And in Arizona, a study was done, and illegal immigrants commit 142% more crime than legal immigrants and citizens. Let me say that one more time. Illegal immigrants commit 142% more crime than legal immigrants and citizens. Wow, that's astounding. This is a study that was done on the Arizona state prison system, and 142%. Wow. The study was done by John Lott, founder and president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. Lott also found that illegal immigrants tend to commit more serious crimes, serve 10.5% longer sentences, and are more likely to be classified as dangerous, and are 45% more likely to be gang members than U.S. citizens. Wow, such a problem, Mr. President. Well, also, they are also much more likely to commit sexual offenses against minors, sexual assaults, DUI, and armed robbery. If illegal immigrants committed crime nationally, as they do in Arizona, in 2016, they would have been responsible for over 1,000 more murders, 5,200 rapes, 8,900 robberies, 25,300 aggravated assaults, and 26,900 burglaries. This is how Lott summarized it in his report. The data represents all prisoners who entered the Arizona Department of Corrections for the last 32 years. So what that means, folks, this was not a little sample. This was not a little short thing to just say, oh, there's been some crime in the last couple of years. No, he did this analysis for 32 complete years. And the immigrants actually, there's a 45% of illegal immigrants in Arizona. They're 45% more likely to be gang members than U.S. citizens. And that's according to this new Arizona State Prison System report. Now, you may think some of these numbers may be lower. Well, it's just a little sample and you can't really tell things. Well, remember, he did this study using data, detailed information on all prisoners who entered the Arizona State Prison from January 1985 through June 2017. That's a long period of time. And this was the data that allowed him to separate non-U.S. citizens into illegal or legal groups. First time. So he was able to get to the bottom. Are they illegally here or are they legal? And that's the first time such a distinction has been made available. And by putting it together previously, it was all kind of garbled because you had documented and undocumented, and people could, talk around it, but not on this one. As you see, documented and undocumented immigrants have vastly different incarceration rates in Arizona, Lott said. Undocumented immigrants have the highest rates, whereas documented to their home country, they just don't have the same rate. Now we're getting into another interesting part of it, DACA population. Lott investigated the Arizona prison data to gauge how many DACA-aged criminals were in the system. DACA refers to the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program that former President Barack Obama launched by executive order in 2012. And that's what President Trump was tweeting about negotiations on DACA. So they had to be, in order to be eligible, they had to have been born after June 15, 1981 and entered the United States before their 16th birthday and been residing here since June 15, 2007. So he matched up the data. And if undocumented immigrants are even less likely than average to be caught because their victims are reticent to report crimes, this discussion underestimates the problem with DACA age-eligible undocumented immigrants, Lott said. But here's what he found out. He found that DACA age-eligible illegal immigrants are 250% more likely to be convicted of crimes than their share of the population. 250% more likely to be convicted of crimes than their share of the population. Now that's a huge number. So don't buy it when the mainstream media is saying, oh, they're just dreamers, just working, they have a dream. Don't buy into that. 250% more likely to be convicted of crimes than their other share of the population. Now here's kind of an interesting fact about this data. You know that liars will figure and figures will lie. Well, this helps to get to the bottom of something that I was curious about too. Remember, it's 32 years of data from the Arizona Department of Corrections, January 1985 through June 2017. During that period, there were 464,641 prisoners who entered the system, and 462,978 for whom Lott obtained citizenship status information. So he didn't just get a sample. It's the entire universe of cases, not just a little sample. And for this reason, this data doesn't have any of the statistical problems that previous attempts to study this issue have come across. This was really well done. And remember, that was the Arizona state prison system. Now let's take a look real quick on the federal prison population. In the federal prison system, 94% of foreign-born prisoners are in the United States illegally. And that's from a report by the Department of Homeland Security and Justice Department. 94% of foreign-born prisoners are in the United States illegally. Wow. Illegal alien prisoners could make up as much as 19% of the total number of prisoners in the federal system. So that's pretty close to 20%. So Attorney General Jeff Sessions said that non-citizens commit a substantially disproportionate number of drug-related offenses, in particular fueling the national drug crisis. Our citizens are being victimized by illegal aliens who commit crimes. The simple fact is that any offense committed by a criminal alien is ultimately preventable. One victim is too many. This is a comment by Jeff Sessions back in December 21st. It's time for Congress to enact the President's immigration reform agenda so that we start welcoming the best and brightest while turning away drug dealers, gang members, and other criminals. Remember what this study found. It took the whole universe of prisoners for 32 years, found out what percentage of them were part of the illegal group, but 45% were gang members. That involves drugs, the crimes, the murders, right? You understand that? See how everything gets so interrelated with the immigration? Yeah, it's not everybody wanting to be a good person and coming here and work and do the thing. It's gang members coming in here and doing their dirty, filthy work that they do. So let's not forget that as we go along. Now, as part of this, I've been saying this in some other videos. The federal government under Donald Trump is going to start enforcing all the immigration laws. Even if the states are fighting, like in California, wherever the law is on immigration, Donald Trump and his administration are going to start enforcing that. One of the areas he started to enforce it is in Florida. And there has been some sweeps taking place by ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and 17 Florida sheriffs are spreading all around the state. They're enforcing the law. And here's an interesting thing. What's the other side doing? More than a dozen advocacy groups issued a warning about traveling in Florida on Wednesday, saying immigration arrests there have soared more rapidly in the past year than in any other area of the country. So all the pro-free immigration, illegal immigration groups, they're issuing warnings. And why are they doing that? That's because ICE is enforcing the law. And in Florida, some of the sheriffs are helping to enforce that law. Well, I think that's about time. So the next state is Texas. Texas saw large numbers of immigration arrests from October 2016 to September 2017. Now, Florida had the largest, so Florida is the winner. But arrests went up by 76% in Florida, from about 3,500 to nearly 6,200, according to ICE. And the urgency to arrest particularly gang members is increasing. The thing in Florida, and I believe in Texas, that is happening is the feds are enforcing the law, and there is cooperation. There is cooperation from certain state agencies and county sheriffs. Very important. They're eliminating crime on the street. And in Florida, 17 law enforcement agencies have agreed to follow the new protocols with ICE. Now, Los Angeles. Well, Los Angeles and California, they're a whole nother story as well. ICE launches new immigration sweep in Los Angeles area, at least 100 detained so far. Federal officials are in the midst of an immigration enforcement operation in the Los Angeles area and have so far detained more than 100 people suspected of being in violation of immigration laws. The sweep, which began Sunday, is focused on individuals who pose a threat to national security, public safety, and border security. ICE is working with local police and county jails to identify public safety threats in their custody who are also in the country illegally for deportation. But this is California, right? Uncooperative, sanctuary state. So uncooperative jurisdictions such as Los Angeles have forced ICE agents to conduct at-large arrests in the community, putting officers, the general public, and the aliens at greater risk, and increasing the incidence of collateral arrests. That is what ICE is now doing in Los Angeles, and what ICE will continue to do in uncooperative jurisdictions. The Los Angeles Police Department and many other California law enforcement agencies have said they will not cooperate with ICE on sweeps. LAPD has had a long policy that prevents officers from asking people about their immigration. Now, that just seems foolish to me, and that's why there's so much crime. Now, not only is the operation taking place in Los Angeles area, but also the counties of Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties. Trump administration officials have warned that ICE might target California for more immigration raids, citing the state's efforts to create sanctuary protection for those here illegally. ICE has not said whether the LA raids were part of a larger California crackdown, but the operation follows what happened in Northern California a couple of weeks ago, in which agents raided 77 businesses in Northern California, according to the San Francisco Chronicle, and immigration officials demanded proof that employees were legally allowed to work in the U.S. Now, that's part of the immigration law, folks. So they're enforcing the law on the employers as well. It is believed to be the largest such localized operation of workplace enforcement by ICE since President Trump took office. This week's raids, they come at a time when Trump has pushed for a sweeping crackdown on the estimated 11 million people living in the country illegally. He and U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions contend that law enforcement agencies should give immigration agents limitless access to jails and delay releasing immigrants from custody so that agents can detain them. Law enforcement and city officials in L.A. and San Francisco and other municipalities ignored those demands and instead enacted policies and passed laws to restrict what authorities can and can't do. A lot of the local police, they're afraid to not follow the California law or the local law, so they don't hold them for the immigration people. So this is a big battle. Who's going to win, federal law or state law and municipal law? My bet would be that President Trump's going to win, and that federal law will override everything. Illegal immigration. It's a battle for our time, and it's a battle for putting America first. All part of President Trump's plan to make America great again. Well, that's all I have for today. And as President Trump likes to say, keep moving forward. Never, ever give up. God bless.